I'm talking today to Kofi Dadzie, who is the CEO of Rancard Solutions in Ghana, which is a mobile service delivery platform. Kofi, what does that actually mean?
So, a mobile service delivery platform is basically a piece of software or a software platform that connects mobile content, services and applications through mobile networks to subscribers. So what we basically do is we have a software platform. It's a cloud-based platform, and you have application developers like Google, content and media providers like BBC, MTV, SPN, VOA, and local and country content providers who have accounts or have connectivity from their applications to rancardmobility.com. They host their content and services, or they connect to rancardmobility.com to multiple mobile networks in different countries in Africa and in the Middle East predominantly. And they interact with subscribers. They deliver content and service to subscribers. One key thing our software platform is also responsible for doing for them is helping them reach their target audiences. We call that discovery, as well as monetizing. So we have carrier billing APIs for normal transaction billing, as well as in-app billing, which our content and application providers are able to use to monetize and make money.
So your clients are twofold, presumably the content providers and the operators.
Yes. So the operators are our chief partners. What we're doing for the operators is we're helping them aggregate content under their brands, or their co-branding with these large media content players. And then on the other hand, for the content providers, for the application developers, we're helping them aggregate lots of operators to deliver their services to reach their audiences.
So give me some idea of which countries you're in.
So currently we're delivering services, content apps in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Senegal, in Israel, in Palestine, and in a few other countries in the Middle East coming on stream.
It's fairly widespread, really.
Yes, it's currently 11 countries, about 2 continents, and more than 20 carriers, and growing.
Okay, so if we bring you back to Ghana, one of the constraints on the growth of the market is clearly the devices in the market, because the more complex the device, the more you can do with it. So how many smartphones are there in the Ghanaian market?
Right. So our estimates indicate we have about 10% of the mobile market being smartphone users, and about 30 to 50% of them would be high intensity users, as would have it, whereas the others might not do as much with the typical capabilities of a smartphone.
Simply have a fancy phone for vanity reasons.
Have a fancy phone for a status symbol. Yeah. But then you also have feature-rich phones, feature phones that have 2.5 GPRS edge type data access, where people are doing basic browsing, checking their email, searching the mobile web, doing lighter weight things on them as well.
Activities, yeah. And in terms of Nigeria, how does Ghana stand against Nigeria in terms of take-up of these kinds of phones?
Right. Ghana is like a smaller version of Nigeria in demographics sense in mobile. So you multiply Ghana by about 7 times and you have Nigeria.
Yes. So the percentage is the same, but the numbers are hugely bigger.
Well, the percentages go up a little bit in Nigeria as well. So if you look at it from an economics perspective, Nigeria's per capita income is about $1,000 higher than Ghana. It's about $2,500, where Ghana is barely over 1,000.
Yeah.
So you do have very likely a higher margin of smartphone users. You have also a better scale, simply by having large numbers. So your yields are higher. ARPU I think is still slightly higher than it is in Ghana.
We were talking earlier, the story of Facebook growth is very public, and the numbers are out there in the public domain. You were talking about the YouTube users. What's the level of YouTube users that you've been hearing?
So I don't have specific figures, but my feeling is that YouTube users are might not yet be on par with Facebook users. However, because lots of users will watch a YouTube video in Facebook, there might actually be nearly as many YouTube views as there are Facebook visitors. It's not a it's a bit of an apples and oranges comparison that way, but you can see how Facebook may be, in this case, driving YouTube views.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Since you don't have to be a signed up user to watch a YouTube video,
yes,
you may indeed have more YouTube video views coming out of signed up Facebook users.
yeah. So you've got embed videos basically.
That's right.
And Twitter users, what's the position there?
Yeah, that appears to be very low in Ghana. You may have a case of, since Ghana has largely for a long time been a very SMS heavy subscriber base, and Twitter has not had an SMS interface in Ghana. I think that may be the reason why it hasn't grown significantly here.
Yeah, so there's no local agreement, basically.
There is no local agreement. That's top priority.
Okay. And if we were to look forward 3 to 5 years, what's the scale of smartphone usage that you'll see in Ghana?
Right, so my feeling is that the market size for smartphone users in Ghana is about 34% of the mobile subscriber population.
And that's a very precise figure. Why?
Based on intermediaries research numbers of the SMS or VS user population in Ghana. So not all of them are likely to become smartphone users, but as smartphone prices come lower, especially with the introduction of Huawei's $108 phone and with Android.
The idios, yeah.
So on, yes, the idios. We should see more and more people who are used to sending text, taking advantage of better applications. Instant messaging is always a much more appealing alternative to paying for each message you send up to 160 characters. And then you also see applications like Gmail SMS, which may be recruiting more SMS type users to become data users. It's a bit of a fluid experience based on what devices are available, the cost of bandwidth, the cost of data plans, and what networks themselves are promoting over time. Networks definitely want to drive data usage. Their margins are stronger. So they will invest in promotions towards more data usage. With handset to device prices coming to Ghana, I think we should begin to see significant growth in data users.
So what will the Ghanaian user 5 years from now be actually using that smartphone for?
I think to answer that, you can sort of look at what's happening in Asia and in Europe. And if you look 10 years back, you could do the same extrapolation and you'd sort of see that the trend follows from Europe and Asia, and Africa follows a year to 3 years behind. The question more will be whether the following gap will close, and I think it will close somewhat. Yeah. It will more be about how many people are already doing this versus just a few people doing that. Obviously, however, you have things like network bandwidth. I think 3.5G is a threshold that allows people to do most things. And so we should see...
You were talking earlier about what was the scale of package what was the money for a 2 gig package?
Right, so on one of the networks, 2 gigabyte monthly package with BlackBerry is equivalent to about $30 a month. Obviously, that is expensive, but there are other packages that networks may be rolling out, prepaid packages at $5, $10 usage, and different flavors of data packages, which networks will continue to render to meet what users will be able to pay for. But we also know that users will apportion a greater size of their wallets to things that they're more interested in. So that's where content and applications become important. When people begin to acquire more smartphones and phones where it makes sense, you have a large hard disk, and so buying books and music makes a whole lot more sense. As you see more ebook readers like Kobo and Amazon Kindle having smartphone versions, a BlackBerry version, an iPhone, iPad, or Android version for an ebook reader, and for playing MP3 content. Then all of a sudden, instead of buying that CD and taking it into your car or home to play it, you're going to use it on your phone, which you can plug it at home or in your car. And so you will see all these electronic media transactions move to phones where you have easy access and bandwidth, and then all of a sudden it explodes. Now, obviously, underlying all of that is payments. Can you easily pay for the content you want?
Micropayments.
Micropayments. That's one of the areas where, for the carrier billing aspect of micropayments, our platform, again, either directly in terms of the carrier billing APIs or using third-party mobile payment providers that exist in the market, we again help our content providers to be able to monetize, to be able to have an easy way of selling their content, having subscribers pay for content. Once you have billing, once you have access, once you have content, then you have a market.
Kofi, thank you for talking to me today.
Thank you.